Good morning to all. Today's topic is different fluid compartments of body and its ionic composition. Myself Anisha, tutor in the Department of Physiology. So, the learning objectives of today's class are: at the end of the class, students should be able to name the different fluid compartments, give the normal values and percentage distribution of body fluids in different body fluid compartments, mention the principle used for measurement of body fluid compartments, give the characteristics of an ideal indicator used for measurement of body fluid volumes, explain why dehydration is common in children than adults. So to start off with, total body water in men it is 55 to 60% of total body weight. In women it is 45 to 50% of body weight. In fetus it is 85 to 90% of body weight, and in newborn it is 75 to 80% of body weight. So it is seen that in fetus it comprises of the maximum of body weight is by water, and then comes the distribution of total body water. In muscle being the most, it is 50% of total body water. In skin it is 20%, in other organs it is 20%, and in blood the least 10%. Then this is the distribution of body fluids. It is seen that the upper space is the extracellular space and the lower one is the intracellular fluid. The upper one is extracellular fluid, then lower one is the this is the whole, the plasma, and the interstitial fluid comprises of the extracellular fluid, and the lower one, this is intracellular fluid being the maximum, which is 28 liters, and extracellular fluid is around 14 liters. So extracellular fluid has two components in it, plasma, and the upper one is the plasma and the lower one is the interstitial fluid, and it is separated by a membrane known as the capillary membrane. Plasma has 3.0 liters and the interstitial fluid has 11 liters. So these are the two compartments, the extracellular fluid and the intracellular fluid. Then coming off to the compartments of total body water in a 70 kg man, for example. So total body water, for example, 42 liters, it is 60% of total body weight. It has two divisions, extracellular fluid and the intracellular fluid. The extracellular fluid has 14 liters and the intracellular fluid has 28 liters of water. Intracellular fluid has more amount of water than the extracellular fluid. It comprises of 40% of body weight, whereas the extracellular fluid comprises of only 20% of body weight. Now the extracellular fluid is divided into comprises of three components, that is interstitial fluid, plasma, and the transcellular fluid. Now the extracellular fluid, the 14 liters is divided into these three spaces, that is interstitial fluid has 10.5 liters, plasma has 3.5 liters, and the transcellular fluid has 1 liter. So here comes the total body water, that comes out to be extracellular fluid plus the intracellular fluid, and the extracellular fluid, as we all know, it has here ISF, that is intracellular fluid plus plasma plus transcellular fluid. These three, when we add all the three, that comes out to be the here extracellular fluid. So to proceed with extracellular fluid, it is known as milieu interior. This term was coined by a scientist, Claude Bernard, and it mainly means extracellular fluid, mainly the interstitial fluid. So it comprises of 20% of body weight, as we saw in the previous slide, 1/3 of total body water, and divided, as we saw in the previous slide, it is okay, as we saw, the plasma and the interstitial fluid is divided by a capillary membrane here. Then, so it is divided by a capillary membrane into two compartments, that is ISF and the plasma. ISF comprises of the maximum space, that is 3/4 of the space of extracellular fluid is comprised by interstitial fluid, that is 11 liter, and the remaining 1/4 of space is comprised by the plasma, that is 3 liters. How to proceed with the interstitial fluid? It transports substances between the cells and the blood plasma. It also serves as a buffer fluid between plasma and the intracellular fluid. And then it is formed by plasma filtration at capillaries, where it is at the same time reabsorbed, balanced between these two processes, and it is completed by the lymphatic drainage. So now the next is the transcellular fluid. It is 1 liter or 15 ml per kg body weight. It comprises of many type of fluids like GI fluid, CSF, biliary fluid, and the other fluids. So the 15 liters is divided into all these fluids. So to start off with GI fluid, it is 7.4 ml per kg body weight. Then comes the CSF, 2.8 ml per kg body weight. Biliary fluid, that comes out to be 2.1 ml per kg body weight. Other fluids consist of pleural, pericardial, synovial, intraocular, luminal of thyroid and cochlea, and are formed by actively by secretion or filtration, and it comprises of 2.5 ml per kg body weight. So this comes out to be around 15 ml, or this comes out to be 1 liter or 15 ml per kg body weight. Then comes the ICF. So this was ECF. Now we proceed to ICF, intracellular fluid. It is 40% of body weight, being the maximum, forms 2/3 of the total body water, that is 28 liters. It is the largest fluid compartment, separated from ECF by a cell membrane. This is also separated by, as we saw in this diagram, that extracellular fluid is separated by the intracellular fluid by a capillary membrane here. So this separates both the compartments, that is extracellular fluid and the intracellular fluid. Now it is separated from ECF by a cell membrane. Volume is determined by osmolality of ICF and osmolality of surrounding ISF. To proceed with, now we come to the measurement of body fluid compartments. So now it is seen that here is an indicator through which we measure the body fluid compartments. So the basic principle is indicator dilution principle, which is based on the relationship between the amount of substance administered. We will inject a amount of substance into the blood to measure the body fluid compartments. So this is the substance. Amount of substance administered will be denoted by I. The volume of space in which the substance is distributed will be denoted by V, and the final concentration of the substance will be denoted by C. So here comes the dilution principle. Now how will we calculate the concentration? So concentration will be calculated by amount upon the volume, and the volume will be calculated by amount upon the concentration. Here is the amount, that is 20 millimole, and the concentration being 10 millimole. So 20 upon 10, that comes out to be 2 liters, will be the volume of the substance. So to proceed with indicator dilution principle, amount of substance will be calculated by volume of the fluid multiplied by the concentration of the fluid. So it will be, and if we want to calculate the volume of the fluid, the basic mathematics will go like the amount of substance upon the concentration of the substance. The amount of substance upon the concentration of the substance. Then we are seeing that some of the substance is excreted, metabolized, or vaporized through skin. And now if we so to proceed with, substances used to measure total body water by indicator dilution method. So these are various substances which we will use to measure the total body water. It is tritium oxide, deuterium oxide, antipyrine, and acetyl 4-amino antipyrine, urea, and thiourea. Now the substances used to measure ECF volume. Specifically, we will measure ECF volume by these substances. So the first one is saccharides: inulin, sucrose, raffinose, and mannitol. Ions: thiocyanate, thiosulfate, radioisotopes of sulfide, chloride, and bromide. Different substances penetrate ECF space to different extents. Now, for example, if inulin is penetrating ECF space to quite a greater extent, it is not necessary that sucrose or raffinose will penetrate the ECF space to that extent. It can penetrate even more than inulin or even less than inulin. So every substance has different penetration rate as compared to each other. Then therefore, the volume of ECF is determined by the various substances and is designated as that space occupied by the substance. So, the substance which we are penetrating into the space, space will be denoted by the particular substance's name. For example, sucrose space and the thiocyanide space. Then the ICF volume. How will we calculate the ICF volume? Total body water, which we know will be calculated by ECF plus ICF. Then now with the basic mathematics, intracellular fluid will be calculated by total body water minus ECF. ECF will go that side and it will be total body water minus ECF. Now the interstitial fluid volume. It will be calculated like ISF equals to ECF minus plasma volume. As we all know, ECF is comprised of plasma volume and interstitial fluid. So if we want to calculate interstitial fluid, we have to minus ECF minus PV. So that will give you the amount of the volume of ISF, that is interstitial fluid volume. Then the ionic composition of body fluids. So these are ionic composition of body fluids. There are different types of ions present in the body fluids, found in the body fluids, anions and cations. So ions constitute 95% of solutes. So these ions are sodium, calcium, chloride, bicarbonates. These are predominantly present in the extracellular fluid. So these are extracellular ions. Now potassium, magnesium, organic phosphates and proteins, they are predominantly present in the intracellular space. So these are predominantly intracellular ions. So sum of concentration of cations equals to sum of concentration of anions. So to proceed with, this is the schematic diagram of composition of ions in the body fluids. As you can see, this is the extracellular fluid space and this being the intracellular fluid space. Now as you can see, it is divided into cations and anions. Cations are sodium and calcium. As we saw, these are present in extracellular space, and the anions in the extracellular space are chloride and bicarbonate. Now coming to the intracellular space, potassium and magnesium are the cations present in the intracellular space, and the anions present in the intracellular space are phosphates and proteins. So both cations or anions are present in the extracellular as well as the intracellular space. So these are the ionic composition of body fluids. This is the different so these all are present in various numbers in plasma, ICF, ISF and ICF. So the cations are sodium, potassium, magnesium, others. So the cations are sodium, being in the plasma it is 153, in ISF it is 145, in ICF it is 12, potassium 5.4 in plasma, 5 in ISF and 155 in ICF. Magnesium 1.9 in plasma, 2 in ISF and 15 in ICF. Others 2.7 in plasma, 2 in ISF and 2 in ICF. So the total cations present in plasma are 163, 154 in ISF and 184 in ICF. Now coming off to the ions, chloride 111 in plasma, 110 in ISF, 8 in ICF, bicarbonates 26.2 in plasma, 27 in ISF and 8 in ICF. Phosphates 1 in plasma, ISF 2 in ISF and 19 ICF. Proteins 17.2 in plasma and 60 in ICF. Others 7.6 in plasma and 18 in ICF. So the total anion present in plasma are 163, in ISF it is 154 and 184 in ICF. So the total ions like cations plus anions present in the plasma are 326, the total ions present in ISF are 308 and the total ions present in the ICF are 368. So these are the non-electrolytes of plasma. So these are present in the plasma in different compositions. So these are phospholipids, cholesterol, neutral fat, glucose, urea, lactic acid, uric acid, creatinine, bilirubin, and bile salts. So these all are non-electrolytes found in the plasma in different amount. So this is the basic difference between the ECF and the ICF. The chief cation in ECF is sodium. The chief cation in the ICF is potassium. Chloride and bicarbonates are the chief anions in the ECF, and protein and organic phosphates are the chief anions in the ICF. Blood volume. Blood makes 6 to 8% of body weight in healthy adults. Adult weighing 70 kg will have blood volume of 5 liter or 60 to 80 ml per kg body weight. So it is different in male and female. So in male it is 70 ml per kg body weight. In female it is 65 ml per kg body weight. Plasma volume 42 ml per kg body weight, and red cell mass in male it is 27 to 35 ml per kg body weight, and in female it is 23 to 29 ml per kg body weight. Methods of measurements, it is direct and indirect. Indirect one consists of red RBC mass and the plasma volume. So its principle is basic. Principle is we introduce a foreign substance into the blood and we wait for some time. To get the results, and after a given interval of time we check the measurements. So to proceed with estimation of plasma volume, dye method Evans blue or T1824, isotope method albumin tagged with isotope 131. Dye dilution technique criteria for selecting a dye is, you should always remember that while selecting the dye you should remember all these points are covered or all these properties are there in that substance or the dye. It should be non-toxic, innocuous. Innocuous means it is not harmful or offensive. Must not diffuse too rapidly out of the bloodstream. Must color only the plasma. Should not be absorbed by the cells of the blood. Should not cause hemolysis. Should mix evenly and thoroughly with the plasma. So these are the criteria for selecting a dye. Methodology: a sample of blood is obtained before the dye is injected to estimate the hematocrit. Known amount of dye is injected intravenously. We will wait for some time and we will take the blood samples at 10, 20, 30, 40 and 50 minutes of intervals. So this is the basic principle of the measurement, that you have to inject a dye intravenously and wait for some time, and after a given interval of time you can check the measurements. Concentration of dye in the plasma measured by photoelectric calorimeter from the value obtained plasma volume can be calculated. So it is measured by photoelectric calorimeter. From this value we can count the plasma volume. Next, calculation if the amount of dye injected, for example, is 10 mg. Concentration of dye in the plasma will be 0.4 mg per 100 ml of plasma. So the concentration of dye in the plasma remains 0.4 mg per 100 ml of plasma. Then plasma volume. Now this is the formula: amount of dye injected. How much amount of dye we injected? 10 mg upon the concentration of dye in the 100 ml. So what was the concentration of dye? Here it was 0.4 mg. So 10 upon 0.4 mg into 100 ml of plasma. So now here will be into 100. So that comes out to be 2500 ml. So the PCV, plasma cell volume, is 45%. If the PCV is 45%, the total blood volume will be PV, plasma volume, that was 2500 upon 100 minus PCV, that was 45%. So 2500 upon 100 minus 45 into 100, that gives you 4545 ml, that comes out to be 4.55 liters. So this is the formula. Now the radio tracer method. By injection of radioiodinated I-131 plasma protein. This method is carried out. A known amount of tagged albumin is injected intravenously. It is allowed for mixing for a sufficient time. Then we draw a sample by the end of the period and its radioactivity determined by an appropriate counter. From this value, the extent of dilution of injected protein can be ascertained. From PCV of sample, total blood volume can be calculated. As we saw here, PCV was 45%. So we calculated the total blood volume by PCV. So then next is red cell marking methods. RBCs labeled with radioactive iron, ferrous 55 or ferrous 59, ferrous 55 or ferrous 59, radioactive chromium, and radioactive phosphorus. Tagged cells of measured radioactivity are injected into the bloodstream just like the previous one. It is allowed to mix for some time. Fraction of red cells that is tagged is measured. From this, total volume of RBCs present in the blood can be calculated. Next, variations of blood volume. Physiological increase. When there can be increase or decrease in the blood volume. So these are the physiological increases in the blood volume. So age, infants have more blood volume than adults in proportion of body weight. Sex, male have more blood volume than female as there are more number of RBCs in male. Pregnancy, as both red cell and the plasma increases in pregnancy. High temperature, muscular exercises and emotional excitement increases the blood volume. To release of blood volume stored into the, it releases the blood from the stored area into the circulating system. High altitude hypoxia, as we see when we experience hypoxia, there is an increased production of RBC which finally increases the blood volume. Next, pathological increase in the blood volume, as in that was the physiological increase that is normal in any person, but pathological increases in a particular disease, the blood volume will increase. So these are the particular diseases in which you can see there is an increased blood volume. Polycythemia vera, congestive heart failure, cirrhosis of liver, thyrotoxicosis and Cushing syndrome. Blood volume is decreased in hemorrhage, burns, dehydration, anemias, acute exposure to cold. Now this is the summary. As we saw, ECF being the less and the ICF being the maximum largest compartment of the body comprises of 40% of total body water and ECF comprises of 20%. The subcompartments are, we saw ECF consists of interstitial fluid, plasma, lymph, interstitial fluid and the plasma being the most, lymph, CSF and synovial fluid. Kidneys, primary regulator of water excretion, regulation processes, osmosis, osmolality, baroreceptors, adding or removing water changes osmolality, mechanisms of regulation of ICF and ECF volume. Those are neural, renin, angiotensin, aldosterone, ANH, ADH. Types of buffer system, carbonic acid, bicarbonate, protein and phosphate. Thank you.